Hello and welcome. I am Beverly Allen, President and Board Chair of the Torch of Wisdom Foundation, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our home buyer and seller resource experience. At the Torch of Wisdom Foundation, we believe that informed decisions create brighter futures. Every family deserves access to reliable information, trusted resources, and opportunities that can help build financial security for generations to come. That's why expanding access to education around home ownership is such an important part of our work. A home is much more than a place to live. It can represent stability, opportunity, legacy, and a foundation upon which families build wealth and communities grow stronger. But whether you're buying your first home, preparing to sell a long-time residence, or simply trying to better understand today's housing market, the process can really seem complex. Our goal is to help make that journey a little bit less intimidating. Over the next several days, you'll hear from experienced professionals across the housing industry who have generously shared their knowledge to help you better understand the many steps involved in buying or selling a home. We hope that these short educational sessions will answer questions you may already have and perhaps introduce you to resources you did not even know were available. This series is a wonderful example of what can happen when organizations unite around a common purpose. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our partners, the Southfield Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Women's Council of Southeastern Michigan, and our sponsor, Fifth Third Bank. Thank you for sharing our commitment to helping individuals and families gain knowledge they need to make confident financial decisions. As you engage with this series, I encourage you to think beyond the transaction itself. Think about the possibilities that home ownership can create: strong neighborhoods, increased financial resilience, and a lasting legacy for future generations. Every question you ask, every lesson you learn, and every informed decision you make brings you one step closer to achieving your goals. As the Torch of Wisdom Foundation, we believe that wisdom is most powerful when it is shared. We hope the knowledge you gain through the experience lights the way toward informed decisions, financial confidence, and the dream of home ownership. Now let's find out what a few of our experts have to say about buying or selling a home.
Hey everybody, it's Celise McCain with Robinson Realty and Management Group. I got a few minutes in between showings to talk to you guys about what buyers and sellers need to know about real estate. First things first, before you talk to anybody, establish your non-negotiables. For my buyers, that's going to look like location, it's going to look like condition, and once you find where you want to live and what kind of house you want to live in, lastly, you need to establish how much you're willing to pay for said property. My sellers, you want to take a look at your net proceeds, the repairs and concessions, and what timeline you want to sell in. You need to know ahead of time how much you need to be able to walk away from the property without being in the red. You need to know what concessions or repairs you're willing to do because they're likely to come up during the inspection period. So you need to know what you're willing to do and what you're capable to do ahead of time. And you need to get an idea of how long you want this whole thing to take based on what works for you and your family. Second thing you want to look at is choosing the right team. For my buyers, you need a solid lender. There's no way around it. Lenders can make or break your deal. Not every lender has an expertise in every mortgage product, so you need to find a lender that's an expert at the mortgage product you will be using. FHA, conventional, VA, you get it. Next, you need an inspector that can't just walk through a house and tell you what's wrong. You need an inspector that can educate you on what's wrong, what you can use to remedy the problem, and how soon the problem needs to be remedied. Just about every house you live in is going to have some problems with it, but you need to know how costly those problems are going to be and how soon they need to be addressed so that you can make an informed decision. Sellers, you need a solid agent and you need a solid title company. You need to know that the agent you're choosing to market your house can do just that. You need an agent that has high negotiation skills. You need an agent that can explain to you what's happening in the market in a way you can understand and make an informed decision with. Title company, you need a title company that if there are any issues with your deed or transferring deed from yourself to the buyer, they can take care of any liens, property taxes, things that may be breaks and chains of title and things like that, so that come closing day you can get your money quickly and smoothly and you don't have any hiccups on the road to closing. Buyers, you also need a solid realtor and a solid title company, because when you write offers you need a realtor who can articulate what the benefit of selling the house to you would be for the seller. Title companies are important to buyers because the very last thing you want to happen after you've taken out a 30-year loan to finance a property is for someone to come out of nowhere 5 or 6 years later and say, actually, that's not your house, that's my house. So keep in mind that for buyers, lender and inspector are critical, and for sellers, the realtor and the title company are critical, but they also play a very valuable role for buyers as well. Lastly, you want to prepare ahead of time. For buyers, what that looks like for you is before you go out shopping and fall in love with a house, get pre-approved. You don't want to fall in love with a house that you either can't get pre-approved for the amount that the house is going to cost you, or the house does not take the kind of mortgage you're able to get approved for. Not every seller accepts every kind of loan. The next thing you want to do is kind of get a ballpark estimate of what it's going to cost you to close based off what you get pre-approved for. That way you know how much money you need to save or how much you'll need to take from an investment account like your 401k or stock portfolio. Lastly, the lender is going to ask you for a ton of documents. The home buying process is stressful in itself, so you want to get ahead of things and have these documents already set aside so that you can quickly recall them and send them over to the lender. You want to have your tax documents for the last 2 years ready. You want to have bank statements for the last 60 days ready. You want to have pay stubs for the last 30 days ready. And you want to have your W-2 and 1040 for your employment on standby for the lender, because they're going to ask for it. For sellers, you want to get an idea of what similar properties in the area your home is in have sold for. Those are called comparable sales. The realtor you're working with should be able to provide you with those numbers so that you can see what you can expect your offers to come in at from buyers. Lastly, you want to look at days on market so that you know how long should it take you to be able to get an offer, so that if it goes above that amount of time, you know you may need to adjust something about either where your property is priced or how it's being marketed, and you can kind of plan your next move based around how long it should take you to get from listed for sale to close. Those are my tips for today. I'll be talking to the Torch of Wisdom this week about more in-depth insights on buying and purchasing a home, as well as selling a home. Hope you guys have a good one. Take care.
Hello, my name is Stephen Huntington. I'm a certified master inspector and also a licensed builder for over 37 years. In addition to being a HUD 203K consultant and a certified motor air quality inspector. Today I want to talk to you about why it's essential to get a home inspection before purchasing a new home. Buying a new home is generally a person's biggest financial decision. So you want to make sure you do it right. You want to be confident in the decision that you make. What is a home inspection? It's a comprehensive visual evaluation of the property at that time and all the major systems of that property. We inspect everything from the roof on down to the foundation. the shingles, the roofing, the siding, the soffits, your downspouts and gutters, the siding on the house, your foundation, as far as your drain off, as far as the water, your walkways, your railings, porches, steps, and inside electrical, plumbing, attics, crawl spaces, HVAC systems. Everything's inspected. Everything's looked at. It's a lot of things that the average person just don't see. When you go look at a new house, a lot of times the new house is kind of staged. And you go in there, it looks good. You got fresh paint, new tile on the wall, new lighting, and it looks good. But we look beyond that as inspectors. Behind those nice painted walls, a lot of times there's moisture building up. Now we have the tools and equipment to discover different things that the average eye you can't see. You have sometimes contractors, a lot of times they flip houses, investors flip houses, they buy it to resell. They get the cheapest labor, they get the cheapest materials, but they know how to do it and make it look good to the average person. Sometimes you have a basement that's been finished off, but behind that new drywall panel, you got big cracks in the foundation wall, which can be a major problem in the future. You got a roof that looks good from the ground, but all they did was put new shingles on top of bad shingles and on top of bad wood, where to the point where somebody walking on that roof could actually fall through. The wood is so bad. If these issues aren't visible to the average buyer, there is a financial impact if this stuff is not caught before you buy the house. A new furnace, $5,000 to $8,000. A new roof could be anywhere from $8,000 to $25,000. Foundation issues could be anywhere from $8,000 to $30,000. So there's a lot of major issues that could happen if you don't get your house inspected. But it's not all about money and financial. It's also about safety. You get guys in there that's doing electrical work that's not electricians, and they inside the boxes putting wires on top of wires, which is called double tapping. And you go to plug in a few appliances at one time and try to use them, and all of a sudden you're blowing fuses, circuits, and constantly, and you got problems that could start a fire. You got missing GFCIs, outlets that should be around anytime you have water nearby, so you don't get shocked when plugging things in. You have improper venting of some appliances like the furnaces and hot water tank. Sometimes these guys are just replace it and don't have it really properly going to the chimney, where you got carbon dioxide coming back into your house. So now you got your family breathing carbon dioxide, and you probably don't even know it because you can't really smell it. Loose railings, trip hazards. Sometimes the railing might look good on the porch, but you lean against it and somebody could fall. Somebody could trip. Then you got a lawsuit possibly. So it's more than just financial, it's also safety also. There's one thing the buyer gain is a better understanding of the home's true condition. And you also understand what's just cosmetic and what's really urgent to take care of. And the best thing is it gives you leverage in your negotiations when you sit down with the seller for the final time. Generally you get 5 days to get an inspector and to get things tied up. So I may go in there and find $20,000 worth of repairs that need to be done that nobody saw. Maybe the seller doesn't even know. You sit down and say, hey, the inspector found $20,000 worth of things that need to be taken care of. I don't have that money once I buy this house. Can we reduce the price of this house, maybe $10,000? I'll take half the responsibility. Maybe you can take half, and see if you can knock the price down $10,000 possibly. And a lot of times people are willing to do that because they didn't know the house had issues either. Now they know, so they have to do something about it. But you avoid costly surprises. You know, once you spend so much money trying to get into this house and you want to buy new nice furniture and this and that, so you don't want to have to spend it on something that you hadn't planned on spending. So you got a much better informed decision. You know, getting a home inspection is not an obstacle, and it shouldn't be looked at as an obstacle. It's your protection. It's a chance to understand the true condition of this home before you make that purchase. Your house works as a system of interdependent parts, and each part has an impact on other parts. If the foundation is leaking, you've got mold possibly building up. You might have windows and doors that don't close properly, don't latch. It's because the house is out of square, which can be a major problem down the line. But you wouldn't know that without the inspection a lot of times. But what happens when all these moving parts work? Because you have up to 10,000 parts in a house that has to work together. But what happens when all these parts actually work together as intended? Now you have a house that's durable. You have a house that's comfortable. You have a house that's healthy. And you have a house that's energy efficient. Thanks for listening. My name is Steve Huntington, SH Inspection. Have any more questions or anything I can help you with, or you need inspection, just give us a call. Thank you.